Hello, my friends. I'm very sorry that we're not able to be together at school this week, but I thought that I would have this opportunity now to share some of my favorite music to play with you on my flute. And today I'm going to share one of my absolute favorites. It's one of the first really important pieces of flute music that I played back in 1992 when I was a senior in high school, and it is called Syrinx. Here's the sheet music for it. You can tell how old it is and how much it's lived as it's lived with me. This is so old that it only cost $3 for this 2 pages to be shipped to me on a boat from France. How cool that was back then. We couldn't just buy things on Amazon. You had to special order stuff sometimes. Pretty neat. As you can tell, also, there's some coffee stains on it because pretty much have loved coffee my whole life. So Syrinx was written in 1913 by a French composer. Remember, composers are people whose job it is to write music. A French composer named Claude Debussy. And Mr. Debussy wrote this piece of music for flute to play by itself, not with an orchestra or anything behind it, or not even with a piano playing with it. And it also tells a story. It tells a story from Greek mythology. Now, if you've studied any mythology, you know that these stories are not based in reality. They're not true. Sometimes they teach a lesson. Sometimes it's just telling a story. If you're a fan of Wonder Woman like me, you know that some of our comic books that we like to read now tell some of these stories too. So this tells the story of Pan, who is the Greek god of many things. Wilderness, nature, shepherds and flocks, and also rustic music. And rustic music is folk music, like we sing in class. So if you're thinking like Apple Tree, yeah, like Apple Tree. Or like Who Killed Cock Robin? Yeah, like Who Killed Cock Robin. And like Hosi Sipa? Yes, like Hosi Sipa. So Pan, being that he was a Greek god, was this kind of half man, half goat being. And he had 4 legs, and he liked to run through the forest because that's, he was the god of the wilderness. And one day he was running through the forest and he saw a beautiful nymph named Syrinx. Nymphs were these creatures that were not goddesses, but they sort of represented nature, like air and water and the earth. And Syrinx was the most beautiful creature that Pan had ever seen. And he fell in love with her at first sight. Unfortunately, though, Syrinx did not feel the same way for Pan. And she took one look at him, and she ran away. Like, I'm getting out of here. Bye. Not interested. And Pan chased her through the woods. He chased her all the way through the woods, through the forest, all the way to a river. When she got to the bank of the river, she realized Pan was getting closer. She might have to spend the rest of her life with this half-man, half-goat strange person who she didn't really like, strange god who she really didn't like. She asked the water nymphs for help, and they helped her by turning her into a bank of reeds. Now, reeds are these long plants that grow on the sides of rivers and ponds. If you remember from the Safari game, that's where the reed for the oboe was, on the side of Woodwind Pond in the reeds. So Syrinx was magically turned into these reeds. And when Pan got there and realized that Syrinx was gone, he cut the reeds down and tied them together and made the first flute. Just like this pan flute here. That's why it's called the pan flute. It's named after him. And the pan flute was one of the first kinds of flutes that was made in planet Earth. Some of the oldest instruments that we have are pan flutes. Now, this is not an old one. I just bought this in San Antonio a few weeks ago. But it does work the same way. The long pipe plays a low note. The short pipe plays a high note. Or the pan flute. Pan cut down the reeds and played this sad song for Syrinx. Now, while I'm playing it for you, I want you to listen for some things. Listen at the beginning where it sounds like it's kind of telling you once upon a time. Listen through the middle where it sounds like he's chasing her. And at the end, the last two notes are Pan's two tears falling into the river and rippling off. If you dropped some water into a river, it would ripple away until it was nothing. And that's Pan's sad song for his lost love, Syrinx. All right, enough of me blah-blahing. Let me play some music for you on my flute. Do not have my purple flute today, I have my silver flute. And here is Syrinx by Claude Debussy. That was Syrinx by Claude Debussy, written in 1913, telling the story of the Greek god Pan and the love of his life, Syrinx, who would rather turn herself into a plant than be with him. Wow, didn't realize it was going to be such a dark story. Hope you guys enjoyed that. Maybe tomorrow we'll listen to some Bach. I'll be Bach. Oh, I had to. Hope to see you guys soon.